Experience Awards. The finals are being held on Wednesday, the 15th of May. My name is Lisa Bailey and I shall be hosting this webinar. So the agenda will be this morning will be as follows: scoring of written entries, accessing awards manager, consistency of scores, evidence of tangible results, format for the day of the finals, independent scoring, questioning the finalists, feedback comments, importance of timekeeping at the finals, chair of judges, and confidentiality agreement. You should have received an email from Anna with login details to a portal for you to access the entries within the finalist category that has been allocated to you. If you have not received this email, please email anna@awardsinternational.eu to let her know. A few judges have contacted us to ask how to access the entries, so I'll run through a few screenshots of the awards management portal in a moment. The deadline for submitting your scores of the written entries is Thursday, the 25th of April. If you have not submitted your scores for the written entries by then, we cannot guarantee that your scores will be used. On the portal, there is a link to advise us of any dietary requirements. The deadline for submitting these dietary requirements is also the 25th of April. So accessing the Awards Manager Judge Portal. In the email from Anna, there are login details to the Judge Portal. I would recommend that you copy and paste for the username and password. Please note these slides relate to the UK Business Awards, but the format is the same for all of our awards. So when you log into the portal, this is the first page that you will see. There are 3 tabs across the top. The first is the Judge Information tab, and I would recommend you read this prior to proceeding with scoring and then revisit it closer to the finals, as it includes key information and will be updated as the finals become closer if necessary. The next tab is the Scoring Instructions tab. This provides a link to the scoring criteria and an example of some feedback comments. So once again, please read this before proceeding. The next tab is the Scoring tab. This tab for me is the most important tab, as it provides instructions on how to access the entries. If you follow these instructions, then you should have no problem with accessing the entries. And so the instructions state to click on select. So when we click on the select, here you will see the category or categories that you will be judging. Next to the category name, as the instructions state, it says click view on entries. Here you will see the entries that are within the category, and then you click on the add button. And when you click on that, you will see 3 tabs for that particular entry. On the far left is the tab for inputting the scores. And to input the scores, click on the red square or the orange square and slide it along. When inputting your scores, please be aware that you are required to input a score for each criteria, otherwise your scores will not be saved. If you wish to have a pause in your scoring to do something else, I would suggest that you input a low score, e.g. 5, and then return to review it later. The middle tab is to access the entry form. And to access the entry form, either scroll down or there is also the option to export the form as a PDF. The tab on the far right is where any additional files that the finalists may have uploaded are held. For example, a brochure. But if there are any EPS files there, you can normally ignore these, as they will probably only be company logos. So once you have submitted all your scores, they will be seen here. So this will be updated with your scores that you have submitted. So moving on now to the consistency of your scoring. The scoring criteria can be seen via a link on the judge portal. There are 9 scoring for most of the there are 9 scoring criteria for most of the entries, including the summary, but the summary is for the written entries only. But for the people categories, there are 10 criteria in total. So you're looking for adequate coverage across all of the criteria, clearly and convincingly articulated answers, but these may be supported by visuals, a change in results from before and after the initiative, maybe the time the initiative has taken, the number of employees involved, maybe the size of the budget, depending on, if applicable, depending on the size of the company, impact the initiative has had on the business, have the objectives of the initiative been met? Are there any innovative and creative solutions within the initiative? A convincing overall story? Any lesson learnt? And that it's not overladen with sector-specific jargon, especially that's not relevant to the entry. So evidence of tangible results. These may include any of the following. To what extent do the results attribute to the initiative? Improvements in scores against recognised indicators, achievements of industry standards, maybe some staff retention, turnover, staff satisfaction, any promotions, possibly achieving access to new market sectors, improvements in financial results, return on investment, profitability, and maybe any environmental benefits achieved. So now we move on to the format for the day of the finals. The venue is the Park Plaza, which is at 18 Albert Embankment. The closest underground station is Vauxhall, and our registration desk will be on level -4 and will be open from 8:30 a.m. Here you will be given a name badge and a judge's pack, which will include your score sheets for the day, judge briefing notes, and a timetable of the presentations for the day. As a reminder, we are expecting that you will be staying for the lunch and the awards ceremony unless you advise us otherwise. The awards ceremony is set as tables of 10, or will be set as tables of 10, and we will have allocated you a seat. The dress code for the day is business. A few days prior to the awards, you will be sent an email with final details for the day and an introduction to the chair of judges and the other judges on your panel. A full timetable of the finalist presentations for the day with the room numbers will be available on the website with a link from the judge portal from the 25th of April. If you are scoring a category or categories where there are less than 6 finalists in total, you may wish to see one of the open presentations from a different category. So please ensure you review the finalist presentation timetable to plan your day in advance. So for some of the categories, the first presentation will commence at 9 o'clock. So for these, please ensure you're at your judging room by 8:45 to meet the other judges. If on checking the timetable you realise that your first presentation does not start until later in the morning and you decide to arrive slightly later than 8:45, please could you email the chair of your panel to let them know. A mobile link to the EXA brochure application will be available from the Judge online portal from the 8th of May. So please try and download this in advance of the finals. One of the attractions of our awards to entrants is that the scoring is independent and impartial. You will be scoring the written entries independently, and we ask for this to continue for your scoring of the live presentation. Please keep your conversations with the other judges about an entry to a minimum until after the scores have all been submitted. Please ensure that you score each entry based on the criteria and that you do not benchmark one entry against another one. At the awards finals, all of the score sheets will be collected after each of the presentations from the chair. This is to allow us enough time to input the score for the results to be announced in the afternoon. Questioning the finalists. At our finalists, some of the presentations are open while some others are closed. A closed presentation means it is just for the judges to see. We encourage finalists to choose open presentations, but it is their choice. An open presentation means that finalists can sit in on a presentation when they are not presenting themselves. However, this audience should stay for the whole presentation. The audience are asked not to ask questions, but in the unlikely event that they do, it would be the chair's role to ask them to leave any questions until the end and only if there is time. It is then up to the presenter if they wish to answer the questions or not. A link to the schedule of the open presentations will be available on the Judge Information tab prior to the awards. Please remember to bring any prepared questions from the reading and scoring of your written entries with you. And please note, you will not have access to your scores from the written entries or any of your comments at the finals. If you think you would like to review these on the day at the finals, then please bring them with you. And just so you know, on the day you should add your scores to the score sheet once all your questions have been answered from the finalists. And to be fair to all of the finalists, please ask the same level of questionings to each of them. Feedback comments. Please ensure your writing is legible when you write up your comments at the finals because they have to be typed up afterwards. The comments should be a summary of the positive and negative of the key points. Keep your comments as full sentences rather than bullet points is very helpful for us. But note it's not necessary to comment on each of the criteria. So you're making constructive comments and around up to 100 words would be ideal. Please be mindful of the fact that other members of the panel may not share the same opinion about an entry as you, and you may be surprised who the winner is when they're announced. We therefore ask that you do not provide feedback to a finalist until after the winners have been announced. If a finalist asks you for your individual feedback, it may be more appropriate for you to provide this post the awards, and this also gives you an opportunity to share business contact details should you wish to do so. So, as previously mentioned, timekeeping at the finals is very important for the smooth running of the day. We therefore have a timetable in place for all of the presentations, which we ask the judges to ensure they are aware of. So here are the timings for when the first presentation will commence at 9. So the registration desk will open from 8:30, and then we ask judges to go for theirs for 8:45, unless you've agreed a different time with your chair of judges and your panel. And at 8:55 for those presentations where they start at 9, the first presenters will enter the room to set up. And at 9 o'clock, the first 15-minute presentation will commence. And the chair will use a stopwatch to, and so therefore the first presentation will end at 9:15, and that's when the questioning from the judging panel commences. And at 9:30, this session will end. At 9:35, the next finalist will therefore enter. And the judge score collator from Awards International will collect the scores from the chair between the sessions. At 9:40, the next presentation will commence. So these 40-minute slots continue throughout the morning, but there's a tea and coffee break at 10:50. And 1 o'clock is the last presentation finishes. And then there's a drinks reception and a call for lunch at 1:30. And the awards ceremony will finish by 5. Chair of judges. All of our judges will have a chair, and this is often performed by somebody who has previously judged for us. We will make contact with each of those chairs to ask if they are wishing to perform the role. So the primary responsibility is ensuring that the scoring process is followed, including timekeeping and independent scoring. And an email will be sent to each of the panels to introduce the judges and the chair. And a webinar will be held for the chairs later this month. May I remind you that you have all signed a confidentiality agreement. And if you have any concerns over any conflict of interest with any of the finalists in your category, then please bring it to our attention and we can discuss further. So the next steps. This webinar will be available on the judge portal. As we know, the entries were released on the 4th of April. And the deadline to submit any outstanding profiles and your scores is the 25th of April. And then week commencing the 6th of May, we will email everybody, Anna will email everyone to introduce the chair and the judging panel. This is the Twitter handle for our awards. We will be posting your promo cards again via LinkedIn and via Twitter from Awards International in the lead up to the finals. And here are our other awards programs. Should you be interested to be involved in any of those, please just contact us. So that brings us to the end of the webinar. If you do have any questions, then you can email either Anna or myself. So Anna is anna@awardsinternational.eu, and you can reach me on judging@awardsinternational.eu. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this webinar, and we look forward to seeing you at the finals.